Lotus Flower Wellness Podcast, Harmony for Humanity. I'm Erin.
I'm Quinn.
All right, yeah. So if you joined us for temple service, thanks for hanging out. We hope you get a lot from this discussion. If you have any questions or have anything that you may want us to speak on now or in the future, you can leave us a comment and we will check it out later. All right. Well, thank y'all so much. All right. So today we definitely were talking about something very important, which is rewiring some of that, the internal dialogue that we say to ourselves so that it can support us for our highest good and ultimately being more compassionate and kind to ourselves instead of speaking harsh and negatively to ourselves. So I thought today's temple service went really well. Yes.
I think so.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go ahead and get into our questions. So what tone does your inner voice usually carry? You want to start this one out?
I honestly feel like it'd be a little bit more helpful to go a bit into my past, because like my inner voice used to be a lot more harsh than it is now. It can still be harsh from time to time, but like I used to gather with like a group of friends who would like playfully call each other names or say that, oh, I'm trash, or like, you know, all these sorts of things that like we thought because, oh, we're being we're being self-aware, you know, is the idea that like you know, it's like, oh, we're just being playful and self-aware, and you know, it's just a group dynamic thing. But like, you know, like any psychologist will tell you, how you talk to yourself shapes the way that you think about yourself. And at that time, I did have a lot of self-criticism. I even had self-criticism for my criticisms. Like, you know, like I had, sometimes I felt like there were multiple voices in my head, you know, each critiquing different things, you know.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I'm going to take it over to Miguel now. So, where do you think your original tone that we've been discussing, that we're trying to rewire a little bit to make it more positive, where do you think that originated? Can you pinpoint it?
Well, I would say I've had a lot of frustrations and cracks in my life. And I personally go through a lot of pain, physically and emotionally and mentally. And so a lot of times when things become unbearable, sometimes I feel like the only solution is to you open my eye. Because I have no way of removing this pain. I just have to wait it out essentially. And trying to put myself clearly death will be better than this now.
Right. I'd actually like to respond to that even a little bit. Something that I learned back when I was listening to a lot of mindfulness podcasts and stuff like that, is a lot of times when we have that kind of, oh, I want to die kind of thought process, most of the time it's coming from a place where spiritually, where mentally, we feel like what we really want is the kind of death which is described in the tarot card death. Like, it's death and rebirth. It's not necessarily a physical death, but it's a death of who we are in that moment. It's a death of like our ego, our current self.
Yeah.
You know, like our current situation. Something's got to give, something's got to change. A lot of times you hear those things.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just sort of this feeling that spiritually we feel one way, but egoically, you know, it presents as, oh, I want to die, because our ego would rather us die than lose control control, then lose like the way that we have been living, all the rules that we currently follow based on our programming. You know, it's like this has been working this whole time. All the stuff that we've been doing, it's been working, and you want to do something that hasn't been proven yet, that hasn't,
Right, exactly.
like, you know, it's not a part of our part of our program. It's outside of the normal things that we do. So I'd rather us die actually than have that happen, you know. And that can only lead to more pain, you know,
Yeah.
because like that's what our programming tells us. But you know, a lot of like our risks and like the things that we do, that leads to growth. Like the things that we do outside of our normal, what we've become used to.
Yes, thank you. Thank you both for sharing. So, how does criticism affect your body?
Well, criticism, I feel like it affects your body in a number of ways. It's something that, like, the way that we treat ourselves and also the way that we treat others has an effect on our physiology. It can cause illnesses. It can be the root of, like, you know, as much as, you know, there is medical science to this stuff, a lot of medical science will tell you, oh, stress is a leading cause of this thing. Stress is a leading cause of that thing. Well, what is at the root of that stress? What is at the root of, like, these mental, you know, aspects which are affecting our physical bodies? A lot of it might come from guilt. It may come from, you know, fear. It may come from, like, you know, a number of things that you feel, or like self-criticism. Like, you know, you're criticizing yourself too harshly, and that is affecting your mental health.
Yes, thank you. Miguel, how does compassion affect your body?
Compassion.
Yeah, when you're compassionate with yourself versus harsh.
Well, it certainly relieves a lot of stress and anxiety and frustration on the other end.
Yeah.
So definitely it relieves a lot of the physiological pain associated with those things. Just helps me be more receptive to who I am, and just gives me the motivation for me to want to do that.
Yeah, beautiful. Yes, I'm happy to hear that. So, when resistance comes up, what resistance comes up for you when you feel like what we talked about, reframing the way that you speak to yourself? Can you pinpoint any resistance that came up during the exercise that we had in circle time? Did you feel any resistance coming up to that, or did your body seem to be very drawn to changing that narrative?
I'm usually a pretty honest person, so I wouldn't say I usually just go to how it is, but sometimes expressing my inner emotions is kind of difficult for me sometimes. So, expressing my thoughts or whatever, or just saying how I'm feeling kind of difficult for me a lot of times.
Right. And I feel like you said, you like to tell it how it is with things, and sometimes the way that we frame our thoughts, we feel like that is the way that it is. So it can be hard also, I think, to own up to that doesn't have to be the way that it is. That's just the way that I'm thinking it is.
Yeah, right. So I appreciate that interjection there, because it's we are the story that we tell ourselves and through the lens that we see things. So changing a few words in one sentence really changes the perspective of it. And actually it's energetic value, right? So if you're saying something and you're adding that negative inclination to it, the same exact thing you could be talking about, just changing a couple words and putting something more empowering within there, instantly, just within your own vibrational energy, really shifts that narrative completely. You could be talking about the same exact thing and just changing out a couple words. Can really change that, and that really tells your entire body a different story than having more low vibrational words in there that get you to focus in a lower dimensional of the energy.
Like saying, I want this version of myself instead of I want to. You know, it changes the meaning. I want it, instead of wanting to end yourself, it's wanting to change yourself, and to be someone different than who you have.
Right. Beautiful. Let's see. How might changing your inner tone affect your relationships, Migueli? Like, do you feel like if you had a more compassionate tone with the way that you spoke to yourself, do you feel like you might maybe have a different perspective of maybe how people are coming across speaking to you? Sometimes when we have a negative tone for our own inner talk, we can naturally assume that when people are talking to us, maybe they might have somewhat of the same type of intent to us, which can affect the way that we perceive the way people are coming at us. Do you see that ever happening for you?
Yeah, I guess so. 'Cause, I mean, it could affect a lot of things. It could affect our confidence. I'm down on myself. I'm confident because you can see that. So it speaks to me. Less the guy you I speak to myself. So also too, it can help me just generalize compassion. If I can be compassionate to myself, compassionate to others, myself, others.
Right. Yeah, like speaking from personal experience, I know that I've overheard my mom on phone calls, particularly with like she's calling back about like she wants to do a return or like something with someone on the other line who's speaking for a business, and she'll get this. She'll feel like the other person is talking down to her, or she's like they're taking on like a tone with her that, like, when I hear it, I don't hear that at all. But from her perspective, she feels like she's being talked down to, like she's being antagonized and all that sort of stuff. So I feel like when we have like this negative self-talk, we can bring that into conversation with others, and we can see in what other people are saying a tone that doesn't really exist, or like, you know, that we kind of project onto them.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, the point of that question was to thought-provoking, because not only are we doing that to ourselves, but then that is projecting out, even though we might not realize it. It is the lens that we are seeing the world through, which changes the way that we perceive other people's intentions when they speak to us. And we may even tell ourselves, well, wow, I'm not sure. It's almost like in a text, it's hard to tell what the tone is when somebody is texting you, but Most of the time people take the tone of how they're feeling about themselves in that moment and automatically assume that is how the person is portraying that message. So that very same text, if we're in a great mood, we read it, we may think, oh yeah, this person's giving me like props. And if we're in a bad mood and feeling negative about ourselves, we may automatically assume that person is trying to be rude, or what are they saying?
Like we might normally take like a message as, oh, it's playful, it's joking or whatever, but like if we're in a bad mood, it's like, oh, they're shit talking. Like
That's right.
You know, like they're calling me names. What do you mean that? You know, like.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that was the point of the whole line of questioning here, is to help support us to see that not only are we talking negative to ourselves, but that is actually painting a picture of the way that we see all the interactions that we're having from moment to moment, based off of where we're allowing our storyline to go, based off of the love and the compassion we're giving, or the lack thereof, to ourselves. So. Great, wonderful. All right, does anybody want to share any integration story or anything, with me that you've been going through that you're starting to see come to light for you?
I think for me, I've sort of been like, I've been noticing that like there is a lot of what I feel is like duty, or like, things that I feel like I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to like, which like I'm learning to be a bit softer with myself on, because like I understand that like, there's certain things in life that I want to support, like I want to lift up and be there for certain people, certain situations, but I don't have to be there for all of them. And I need to pay attention to my own well-being as well. And like also, when something does or does not speak to me, that doesn't mean that like I'm failing. That doesn't mean that I'm not where I need to be. That just means that's not speaking to me in that moment. And sometimes I just need to listen to the voice within, rather than being like, oh well, the voice within is supposed to say this. Why isn't it saying this? Why isn't it going along with this idea that I have for my life? Like sometimes it can feel like my life is going a certain way, and then suddenly it's like, wait, no, I don't really feel as aligned with this all of a sudden. It feels like the rug almost gets pulled out from me. And maybe what that means is that my life is going a different way now. So like I've realized that sometimes I can be resistant to that. Like, the idea that, oh, but it was supposed to keep going this way. Like why is it suddenly going a different way?
Yeah, I totally get that. Well, thank you so much for sharing. All right, so in closing, I just want to remind everyone that compassion is not weakness. It is intellectual, intelligent growth, like learning that as we speak negative to ourselves, that doesn't get us where we want to go. It only brings us further down the road that we're trying so hard to escape from, right? And so when we do start to become consciously aware of that choice that we have every single time, and we choose to empower ourselves, speak positive, forward moving in the path in the way that we want, that really can shift yourself and your timeline based off of getting back to harmony and having less suffering in your life. So I do want to encourage everyone, when it comes up for you, you catch yourself speaking negative to yourself, rewire it, turn back around and say, okay, I see what I just did there. How could I have said that more, a little more with grace for myself and empowering and supportive for myself? And it starts with that moment right there. And then if it comes back up again, and do it again and continue to do it. And before you know it, You will be more in the habit of speaking compassionately to yourself and less in the habit of speaking harshly. And that is going to show in many ways in your life, because that's going to change your entire lens of how you're seeing communication throughout other people within your environment, and it really can change your entire existence and what you experience day to day just by starting that inner dialogue change.
Right.
Yes, so I just want to remind everyone just to practice that self-awareness, and may your awareness lead to your evolution. All right, you can finish our
All right. So I'll do the closing. Compassion is not weakness; it is intelligent growth. May your inner voice become a guide, not a judge. May your awareness lead to your evolution, and may harmony for humanity begin within.
flow. Amazing. All right, thanks for joining us. If you know someone that could really benefit from what we discussed today, please share it out with them. If you want to show support for our channel, please like, share, comment. That helps us to get the message out to more people. All right, thank you so much, and we will see you next week.